Hey everyone, welcome to my final video of ZBLL. So this case, I'm just going to call this at T6, and essentially it's just the mirror of the last video of cases I showed you. Essentially, instead of these two being the same and these two being the opposite, it's sort of flipped around, so it's these two being the same and these two being the opposite. And so if that criteria matches, then one of the cases that I'll be showing today will be applicable. First of all, essentially, from this angle, you have these two being the same, and you have this 2x2 block here. And it's also important to note that all of the edges are permuted. So, the alg you do here goes like this. Breaking it down, it's essentially, if you know this alg, it's essentially just lefty sexy sledge. It's the same alg, but you kind of start with a fat L, and then you kind of finish the alg like that. And here it is a bit faster. Here's the next case. So, from this angle, you have this sort of horizontal bar here. It's a bar of 2. And you have this sticker being opposite to this sticker. So these two are opposites. Yeah, here it is. And for reference, this is what it kind of will look like on a U-perm. So you can kind of recognize it this way too. And here is the alg. Essentially breaking it down, you take out this pair with a sexy move, and then you do this winter variation case. If you don't know it just goes like this. So it's R prime, F prime, R, U2, and then you kind of insert this edge back like that, and F. So here it is a bit faster. So here's the next case. Once again, you do have a little 2x2 block here. However, you can't let that trick you, because in the last case I showed you, the 2x2 block was sort of on this front side here. It was kind of on the same side as these two matching stickers. However, in this case, the block only aligns with the opposite stickers, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, and also thing to know is that these two edges still need to be swapped. And so, yeah, all the edges aren't solved, as opposed to the first case where they were solved. And so here's the alg you'll do. Let's see. Essentially, I would take out this pair. I can do a U prime, and then R, U prime, M prime. You know, I don't know how to break the alg down. I don't think there's really easy way to memorize it, but it's not too long. I think it's not the worst thing in the world to memorize. So this next case is pretty similar to case 2. Because, once again, you do have a bar, and you do have two opposite stickers next to the bar. However, in this case, the bar is sort of vertical, as opposed to being horizontal. And so, here it is kind of on a U-perm, just for reference. And this is the alg you'll do. So, essentially, you start with the commutator that sort of takes this corner out and brings it over here. So it's RD R prime, which takes out the corner. You can do a U prime and move it over to where you want it, and then RD prime R prime. And then here, I would insert the corner, and then you just have this F2L case. And so here it is a bit faster. So here's the next case. Once again, you do have a bar, and in this case the bar is vertical, and these two are adjacent. And so, yeah, they're not opposite, they're adjacent, so that's a different case. Here is what it looks like kind of on a U-perm, just for comparison. And this is the alg you do. Essentially, it's just F inverse sexy F prime canceling into this case. So, you do F inverse sexy. Well, instead of doing it inverse sexy, it'll be U R U2 R prime. And then U, and then this is kind of the last 4 moves of a T-perm. Like right here, RU R prime F prime. It's RU R prime F prime. So here it is a bit faster. So here's the next case, and once again, you do have sort of a U-perm pattern. However, here you don't have a bar to kind of recognize the U-perm. Instead, you only have sort of this front side of the U-perm and these two opposite stickers to recognize it. And so essentially, this is just a UB perm pattern. If you have these two being adjacent and these two being opposite, then this is the alg you'll do. So breaking it down, you take out this pair, you sort of do a sexy move to take out this pair. Then you do an R prime U2, and then essentially it just cancels into this winter variation. You just start with an F prime, R U2 R U2 R prime, and then F. And here it is a bit faster. Oops. So here's the next case, and this one might be a little harder to recognize, but the way I recognize it is essentially you have no bars around the entire U face, kind of like this. There's no bars, and you have these two being adjacent and these two being adjacent. And so yeah, if both of those criteria match, then this is the alg you'll do. Let's see. Oops. Essentially, you kind of set up this case, and then you cancel into kind of joining that pair, and then U2, kind of resolving that cross, and then finishing it off. So here's the alg a bit faster. Oops, well there you go. So here is the next case, and so yeah, this is similar to the last one, but there is a way to differentiate it. Essentially, once again, you do have these two adjacent, and these two adjacent, but you do have a bar. And so yeah, if you have adjacent, adjacent, and a bar, then this is the alg you'll do. I don't know how to set it up. Let's just kind of... Okay. Breaking it down, you take out this pair, and you kind of break up the pair, U2, and then L prime, or wide R prime, either one works. You do L prime to join the pair, insert it, and insert that one back. And so here it is a bit faster. That was a bit locky, let's try one more time. There we go. So, here's the next case. From this angle, you have two opposites in the front. These two front stickers are opposite, and these two are adjacent. And essentially, this is what it would look like with a U-perm, just kind of two opposites and two adjacent. And here's the alg. Essentially, you start with an F, you take out this pair, but you start with a U, like that, and takes out the pair. You solve this front face back, and then you just have winter variation. And here's the alg a bit faster. So, here is the next case. Essentially, to recognize it, it's just a Z-perm pattern. You can also think of it as this bar just being on this back here, but really think about it as a Z-perm pattern. That's probably the best way to recognize it. For comparison, you can really see that resemblance there to a Z-perm. So here's the alg you'll do. Let's see. Setting it up, here it is. So essentially you just take out this pair, do an F, you kind of join this pair back, and then you insert this pair back and insert that back pair, like that. And here's the alg a bit faster. So here is case 11. Once again, you do have sort of a Z-perm pattern, but instead of there being sort of a direct Z-perm pattern, like instead of these two needing to swap, it's more like these two and these two. And so yeah, the Z-perm is sort of like misaligned like this, as opposed to it being like this. It's more like this. Yeah, here it is for comparison, and this is the alg you'll do. Essentially, you start out by taking out this pair and inserting it like this, or setting it up like this. Then you do a U prime, F, insert this pair, and then kind of solve this back like that. Here it is a bit faster. Alright, so here is the final case. And so, essentially, you just have an H-perm pattern. You have these two being opposite, and these two also being opposite. Here it is for comparison, like so. And this is the alg you'll do. And so this is actually really easy to memorize. Essentially, you start with F double sexy F prime, that's one OLL, and then you finish off with sexy sledge. So, yeah, it's really just a combination of two OLLs, and it's a really nice alg. Oh, well, that was a bit lucky, but let's try that one more time. There we go. And that wraps it up for my ZBLL series. Hopefully you guys were able to learn a few new alks, and yeah, thanks for watching.